Hey everybody, and welcome to The Breakthrough Effect. I'm your host, Jared Sebesta. I've had two successful careers. First, I was an award-winning TV meteorologist, and then a financial marketing strategist. I was living the dream, making good money, but inside I was craving for something more, something bigger. So I stopped deferring life and I started creating exactly the life I was searching for. I doubled down on unlearning old mindsets and creating big breakthroughs for me and my family. And now I'm bringing that same transformation to you. Let's understand the rules of this game. Let's get clarity. Let's stop chasing and start becoming. This is the Breakthrough Effect.
From the time I was in my family room to when I woke up in intensive care, 9 hours had gone by. And part of that time they had put me in a medical induced coma to treat me and to care for me on life support. But prior to them doing that, I actually coded. I died and my spirit left my body. I had an afterlife encounter, which I share all that in my book of what I experienced. And then I was resuscitated. Every day is a gift. It is for all of us, but for me, I've been given a second chance, and I've experienced my life abruptly and unexpectedly coming to an end at 28. And then here I am today in my mid-50s, and love to share the story with others to give them encouragement and hope.
All right, today on The Breakthrough Effect, I'm talking with my good friend Bill Goodwin, a man who spent over 30 years in ministry building and equipping leaders before he realized something profound. Most people accept their lives instead of leading them. His latest book, Priority Living, reveals the 7 principles that separate those who thrive from those who just survive. Bill's message is radical in its simplicity. Everything rises and falls on leadership, but most people have never been taught how to lead themselves. Get ready for a breakthrough conversation about taking ownership of your life and leading with intention. Please welcome Bill Goodwin. Bill, thanks for joining me today, buddy.
Jared, it is awesome to be with you and our friend on the other end that's listening in. And yeah, I'm so excited about this conversation. So I'm ready.
I love it, dude. You're such you're a good friend, a good man. I'm just so honored that you are in my movie, as I like to say. We've got a lot to talk about here today. Let's just start with this idea of leadership. It's a word that gets thrown around a lot. Let's just start there. How do you define it, and where are most people going wrong with it?
Well, that's a great way to start. I think I just have accepted in more recent years, especially my mentor, John Maxwell's definition of leadership. You know, John is a New York Times best-selling author. He's written over 90 books, and he's known as the #1 leadership expert in the world. So I'll lean on John's definition of leadership. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So we all are leaders. I've talked with people and they'll say, well, you know, what you do must be for, people different than me because I'm not a leader. Well, do you have influence? Do you have a family? Do you have friends that, you give a suggestion, hey, let's go to this restaurant. And they say, yeah, let's go there. You just had influence. You just were a leader in that situation. So where we go wrong is, first of all, not realizing that we're all leaders. We all lead in some capacity. Leadership is not a title. It is not a position. You can go to any playground and look at a group of children playing, and you'll see a leader. You'll see one of those children, 4, 5, 6, 8 years old, that's leading the others. Hey, let's go play tag, and everyone follows. Or let's go play on the swings. Everyone follows. That young person does not have a title or a position, but they are having influence and they're a leader. So we go wrong there. The other thing is, I think sometimes we feel like leadership is I need to boss people around, need to tell people what to do, and there are different stages or levels to leadership. I do quite a bit of working with individuals and teams on what's called the 5 levels of leadership. And there's different ways that we lead. But when we first start out, I won't go through all 5, but when we first start out, maybe we've been given a position. We've been given a supervisory role or something. And so we have to realize that that's only because we have a position that we're a leader. And people follow you at level 1 not because they want to necessarily, but because they have to. And that's an okay place to start, but that's not the type of leadership that really takes a team or takes a company far. You have to keep going up the levels of leadership, which move from people follow you because they have to people follow me because they want to. And that's all about building connection and relationship and lifting others up, not bossing people around. So I think that's some of the the areas where we go wrong, but at the end of the day, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less.
I love that definition, and I really resonate with that. I'll share kind of my story, because people ask me, like, why did you write a book? And I want to ask you about your book here in just a little bit. But no kidding, I was listening to a podcast with Dean Graziosi. Well, if you don't know Dean Graziosi, it's Tony Robbins' business partner, just a phenomenal, great guy to follow, by the way. And I would say just a really phenomenal leader as well, because he is definitely influencing. But in this podcast, Bill, I don't know if you know this story. I was like sitting outside in the sun, like fiddling on my phone or my computer or something, listening to this podcast. And he goes, if you have a message, he said, it is your obligation and duty to bring this to the world. And I'm not kidding you. In that moment, I decided to write the book. And subsequently, that's how I kind of arrived here on this podcast.
That's great.
With you. So for me, I felt this urgency to get my message out. I don't consider myself a leader because, again, I think of it in terms of business and management. But I think that it goes saying yet again, everybody has some sphere of influence that they can bring to the world. What do you tell people who don't think that they have that inside of them?
Well, it's first of all helping people have self-awareness that that they're valuable, that their experiences are important, good or bad, that we go through throughout our life. I think it was Les Brown that said I'll probably get the quote wrong here, but the richest or wealthiest place on earth is any cemetery, because there are people who went to their grave with their message in them. I'm summarizing the quote basically, but you think about that. Now, is everybody supposed to write a book? I don't know about that, but I do know that we all have a message, and we all have a way that we can share that with others. That's why I read so many books, is because for $20 on average, I can get years of of experience, of a wealth of knowledge. I can pick up from an individual's life for about 20 books in a couple hours of my time. I'm going to waste that time if I don't invest that time. So, that's the value of growing ourselves through books and podcasts, etc., is that, that's how we grow ourselves. And that's, we can gain so much out of what somebody writes in a book. So good for you for taking that leap a year ago.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride, let me tell you. One of the things I tell people is share. And again, to use your word, influence, utilize your story to help other people. And like probably an unpredictable byproduct of that is that it seems like your story gets more honed in. It gets more powerful the more that you do this. And it reminds me of I just saw, I can't believe I'm bringing this up, but it just came to mind. It was a podcast interview between Tim Tebow, and I can't think of what podcast he was on. And he was talking about biblical rest, which is another topic for another day, which I believe in, and I'm sure you do as well. But he goes, what else really isn't preached in churches a lot is, he goes, running. He goes, rest is biblical, but so is running. And in the New Testament, it talks about how running is like we are going full bore ahead towards with purpose and intention and influence. And I'm like, wow, what a fantastic way to summarize that, because it's kind of what you're talking about. It's intentional living. It's purposeful living. And I think as a byproduct, you be a leader and you actually find more of your message. What ways have you've been doing this a long time, Bill, but like what ways have your message and your influence ramped up the more that you've actually taken the steps to step into that and actually who you are?
Well, I think first of all, it starts by recognizing that every person is a person of value, and I have been given certain opportunities and experiences in my life, so now I have something of value that I can add to their value. And so it starts there by recognizing that there's opportunity to multiply value in the lives of others. And then how I've done it is I'm often, when I sit down with a potential client to coach them in business or their team, I want to find out what's going well, because I want to put fuel on that fire. Let's take what's going well and make it better, make you more successful, in other words. And then I want to find out the pain points. Where are the areas? Let's lift up the hood. Let's look under the hood and say, what's going on here that's not clicking on all cylinders. And let's address these pain points in a way that we can add value there and get things going in the right direction. And so it's a combination of both. It's the two-sided thing. Sometimes we only look at the Instagram reel and think that's what's real, but there's other stuff going on under the hood. And so let's be honest and transparent about those pain points, and let's grow in those areas too. And so I look at both of those. That's kind of how my approach has been.
Let me ask kind of a personal question, but I mean, again, you've been doing this a long time. Me and you are kind of in the same age bracket. You're a little older than me, but we're kind of one of those guys.
You're my little brother. How about that? There we go.
There, I like that. That. What is one of your pain points? What's a struggle? Because I find this really fascinating. Because I think people that are trying to break through and build something, build a platform, maybe write a book or quit their W-2 or whatever it looks like, they see people who are doing it and they think like, once I get there, bam, that's all going to go away. What I have found is that even as I meet those people, it doesn't. How is it the same for you? But here's the deal. How has it changed? Is it still there, but you rise above it? You see it? You know what I'm saying? Like the fear is still the same, but how has that changed from where you were 10 years ago or 15 or 20 years ago?
Well, I would say this, that if you want to impress people, tell them what you're doing well, tell them the accolades that you've received. But if you want to impact people, then we need to share the areas where we're growing and where we're out of our comfort zone and where we're being stretched. So I'm happy to answer this question. For me, I guess I would say I thought it would be easier. I thought I would reach even a greater level of success faster. And probably there's a third one. I thought it would be easier. I thought it would be fast. I thought it wouldn't cost as much on me. And both financially and just physically. There's times, and you know this, Jared, it's a grind. It's a grind. And so everything worthwhile is uphill. We got to keep climbing. And if you stop climbing, you will drift. And when you drift, you can go down that hill. As you know, sledding, you can go down faster than you can go up. So it's everything worthwhile is uphill. There are those that can make it look from the outside, but they're still grinding, and they've got people around them that are also helping them to climb that mountain, because it is a climb. So for me, I would say I thought it was going to be easier. I thought it would be faster, and so I've come to shift and realize this is. I often say I get to do. I have to remind myself I get to do this. Like I don't say that in a negative way. I say that like, oh my gosh, I get to do this. Well, there's a price that comes with getting to do this, and so I'm willing to climb every day, keep climbing, don't stop. Delta's little tagline: keep climbing. Yep, doing that every day, and I find the joy in the journey. That's also a part of it. Finding the joy in the journey. Dave Ramsey once said, there's no overnight success. He himself took 20 years to have an overnight success, and it's the way it goes. So just take off the facade and just look at the reality that, hey, we all need encouragement because we're all grinding. We're all trying to climb that mountain.
Everything worthwhile is going to be an uphill climb. Dude, feel that 100%. And here's the thing about time, because you brought up time. It takes longer. It will always take longer than you think.
Yes.
If you think like, you're going to start a podcast and within a month, like you're going to be going viral and you're going to be the next Joe Rogan, statistically speaking, that's not going to happen. Like you have to play the long game. When you're building something great, you're taking the long game. What I've also seen too, and again, maybe I'll take your opinion on this. We underestimate how much time it's going to take. It's going to take longer, but at the same time too, it's like, dude, like you can kind of hyper accelerate this process. Mm-hmm. By kind of pushing on the right buttons. There's these levers that we can pull and buttons that we can push into the system that hyper accelerate our growth and, to your point, our influence. Can you think of a specific button for you that when I push this button, it seems like I grow at a faster rate? Does that make any sense?
Oh, you want the list, or you want the whole list, or the top 10? So here's the deal. It's a combination of so many pieces of the recipe, ingredients of the recipe. A few of them for me are, have mentors in your life. Have mentors that have climbed the mountain. They're ahead of you. They still might be climbing, but they're ahead of you. You have to be with people that can pour into your life. One is too small a number for greatness. We have to humble ourselves enough to say, I don't know it all. I'm still a leader. I still have influence. I still have passion. I still have a purpose. But I got to get people around me that have done this longer, or that are doing whatever I want to do. Basically, you have to get mentors in your life, coaches in your life, friends in your life, in your inner circle, people that are supporting you. So that's a big one. It's all about connecting with other people. So much of my life, I've come to realize it's important what you know, but it's more important who you know. Every great opportunity I've had to speak on a stage, or all of the great opportunities I've had have come because somebody opened the door for me, or somebody made an introduction for me. And so it's the people that you are around. Surround yourself with those kind of people. I think then another one is your mindset. And I know you talk a lot about that, Jared. It's your mindset. And most people listen to themselves. Don't miss what I'm about to say. Most people listen to themselves, and the majority of our thoughts are negative thoughts. Instead of speaking to yourself, we have to speak to ourselves, not listen to ourselves. So I used to say, I others would see, like, you talk to yourself. I'm like, I talk to myself all the time. It's me, myself, and I, man, we're in this together. And I have to talk to myself. I'm driving in my car and I have this negative thought. What are you doing? Why do you think you should be doing, whatever. I have to talk to myself and say, no, I belong here. I was made for this. I even have to tell myself when things are hard, which is a lot. I have to say, hey, I was made for hard. I was made for hard. I have to talk to myself and get my mindset right and reprogram the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind wants to go haywire, especially when things aren't going great, or you're in need of finances or whatever to pay the bills. You have to be able to talk to yourself and reframe your subconscious mind and be able to come out on top, because it all starts in your mind. It all starts by reprogramming those neuroplasticity in your brain to be able to. So so that's only two. I gave you two. I got a whole list of them here, Jared. But those are great. Those are great things to think about, because if you can identify those things, then you can address those things. But if you don't identify them, then you're trying to live on autopilot, and that can be very challenging.
Yeah. Again, these are two big ones, and I would agree wholeheartedly. Get people in your corner, get mentors, coaches in your corner. Everything changed, and that's not a sales pitch on what we do professionally. Mm-hmm. I've watched it in real time. As soon as I started bringing people in it, Bill or myself are waiting for you. But there was a definite inflection point when I started bringing in other people, and some of these people cost money. And that was what was weird to me. I'd never done that before, but as I look back, that it collapsed time. Just like I can pick up a $20 book and I can collapse time, even if it's a little bit. It's worth it. It's worth it, because our time is the greatest asset we have. So I appreciate that, and the mindset piece is 100%. Crucial, critical as well. I'm holding a copy of your latest book.
Before we jump on the book, I got to give one more. I got to add a little more value. And the other thing is, you have to be willing to get out of your comfort zone. It's not going to be comfortable. Whatever you're pursuing, my friend, you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to do things that are uncomfortable, and you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's a huge one. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I know that I'm growing when I'm out of my comfort zone, and I've found that the older I get, the more things I want things comfortable. I want a more comfortable recliner. I want a more comfortable car. I want a more comfortable, everything I want more comfortable. But in order to pursue what it is in me to pursue, and I'm sure it's the same for you, Jared, and our friend that's listening, you have to get out of your comfort zone. So if you're always trying to be comfortable, you're not growing and stretching to the point to where you can be more impactful. All right, I had to add
powerful.
That one in there.
Oh, it's fantastic. And again, I'm using, as you're speaking, I'm listening, I'm watching my life replay in the last 3 years, because that's where I've seen just the most growth, and everything Bill is saying is 100% correct. And the more comfortable you get with being uncomfortable, the bigger you got to swing And the bigger you got to play to feel it. That's the other thing. But this, again, these are the cheat codes, right? What made you uncomfortable a year ago, is it going to make you as uncomfortable this year? And
That's
so
right.
if you don't continually push it, don't wait for the world to just show up with uncomfortable situations. You go create them. And man, it's almost like I'm going back to another meme, and I'll share this really quickly. There's a famous interview between Oprah and Michael Jordan, like back in Michael Jordan's heyday. And she asked him, at any point growing up, did you know that you were going to be this great? And he said, no. He said, I just showed up with the work, the attitude, the hunger, and the desire. And he goes, if you do that over time, dude, gave me chills when I watch this, and even as I'm reciting it. He goes, it's as if it gets bestowed upon you. Meaning,
ooh, it's good.
Right? Like if we are chosen because we first chose it. We chose the big uncomfortable dream, right? And God God gave you that vision. I'm not going to go into the theology of that, but like when we decide, the world then bestows it on us, and the universe, God, the world, whatever you want to call he, she, or it, like then does everything it can to make it come to fruition, and it gets bestowed upon us. And I'm like, man, yes. And everything you talked about, mentors, mindset. What was the third one? Mentors, mindset, and uncomfortable. That is all of those things will make you go into the future and create a different reality. And it seems like when you start choosing it, then it starts choosing you. And it's just, oh man,
Love
so
that.
powerful. Thank you for bringing that up.
That is powerful.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I'm glad you shared that quote. I'm going to go look that up.
It's fantastic. Yeah. Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey. Your book, Priority Living, the subtitle, 7 Pillars to Make Your Life Count. I got to ask you this. What is, in your opinion, a life that counts?
Well, I think that answer is probably different for everybody. And I think that's a great reflection piece for us to think about. When I look back on my life, if I start with the end in mind, we do that when we create a coaching roadmap for people. You start with the end in mind. So if we're doing that, if we're planning our vacations, if we're planning our business, if we're planning all kinds of other things, few people plan their life. By looking at the end of my life, whenever that may be, and I look backwards and I go, what kind of life do I want to live? What kind of life would be the most meaningful to me and to those around me? And then we can get clarity on what do I want to be known for? I put that question in the book from my friend Jeff Henderson. What do you want to be known for? And basically, friend, you are known for something right now. Is that what you want to be known for? And if not, then you have the rest of your life to shore up the gap between what you are known for and what you want to be known for. So for me, the life that making 7 pillars to make your life count, for me, it's really summed up in these 7 pillars that I outlined in this book. I want to be a person of purpose, that I know my purpose, I discover it, and I live it. I want to be a person that's continually growing. That's number 2 pillar, is growth, to grow yourself. I want to be a person of impact. What does it look like to make an impact in this world? And then I want to be a person of rhythm, that my life is a rhythm. It isn't just 5th gear, full throttle, kamikaze. There is a rhythm that we are to live in to be most effective in this life. And so I want to be a person of rhythm. I want to be a person who explores. That's the next pillar. I'm all about adventure. I'm all about fun. I'm all about work hard and play hard. Now, don't just work hard, play hard. And then I want to be a person that is connected to other people. Connect is the 6th pillar, which is all about relationships. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your relationships. And then the 7th pillar is about give. It's all about generosity. So living a life where I'm lifting others up and I'm investing in others with my time, my talents, my treasure. And so for me, that's a life that I can look back on and say, okay, I did my best to make my life count, and it's fulfilling to me and should be a blessing to those around me. And so that for me is how I'm going to look back on my life and say, did I make my life count? Each person has to reflect on that themselves and say, what kind of life am I living, and is it the life I want to look back on and say, I made my own?
I would 100% agree with you. Very few people plan. Very few people plan for their life. It's just kind of, to use my verbiage, it's a life deferred. You're just waiting for the world to just kind of show up, and you're in a very defensive stance. You're not being proactive. And so what I hear you saying is intentionality, where you create the intention. And I love hearing that. It seems like there's two sides of the coin. There's us creating the intention, the plan, and then there's like the external, the life stuff, the stuff that you can't see, popping up in your movie, so to speak, which is the verbiage I like to use. You had a very powerful experience that you talk about in the book, and I've heard you share this before on social media. Go as deep into this as you want, but there was an external circumstance that popped up in your movie that was a definite inflection point and helped create you into the being and gentleman and man that you are today. Just share that story if you would, please.
Yeah, November 23rd, 1999. I was 28 years old at the time, living in Arizona, and I was headed to work that Tuesday morning, 2 days before Thanksgiving. Took our family dog at the time to the groomers, which led to a asthma attack from being in the groomers too long, and took this rescue inhaler in my car, wasn't getting relief, began to panic, wasn't able to breathe, and so I drove home about a mile and to get my nebulizer machine, try to give myself a treatment, and long story short, I ended up, the 911 was called, the paramedics came. I ended up blacking out when they were there trying to treat me, and I don't remember being in the ambulance or in the ER, but I do know from the time I was in my family room to when I woke up in intensive care, 9 hours had gone by, and part of that time they had put me in a medical induced coma to treat me and to care for me on life support. But prior to them doing that, I actually coded. I died, and my spirit left my body. I had an afterlife encounter, which I share all that in my book of what I experienced, and then I was resuscitated. So every day is a gift. I mean, it is for all of us, but for me, I've been given a second chance, and I've experienced my life abruptly and unexpectedly coming to an end at 28. And then here I am today in my mid-50s, and love to share the story with others to give them encouragement and hope. So, one of the takeaways, what happened as a result of that, Jared, is I went home on Thanksgiving from the hospital 2 days later. I was very grateful for my life. But I also began to think, wow, I shouldn't be here now. Like, I shouldn't be here. My family should be planning my funeral, my memorial service. And so I want to make my life count. Now, you don't have to die and be resuscitated, I know, to want to make your life count. But I do know that it became all the more intentional for me, like, how do I make my life count? So I started, you started this life undeferred quest. And for me, I started this priority living quest. Like, how do I prioritize my life in such a way? And so it wasn't designed to be a book. It wasn't designed to be a framework that I teach along the way. It just was something I was trying to live. And so for over 20 years, I've been putting pieces in place that have now become this framework I call Priority Living. It's also the name of my consulting company, Priority Living Consulting Group. But I also realized that this is something now that it's not a theory. It's something that I've been living, and it's something that I want to share with others, that one or more of these pillars could really make a difference in someone else's life so that they too can make their life count and stop accepting your life, whatever comes my way, but start leading your life. And there's a big difference between those two. And so a life of priority living or a life undeferred is really what I'm passionate about.
Thank you for sharing that. And by the way, I've heard you tell this story. I encourage you at home and listening to check out Bill's book, read about it. It's absolutely incredible. That's a breakthrough moment. I mean, I would say,
yes.
Dying literally, and your spirit leaving your body is probably one of those moments.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you, one of the biggest lies I believed about my life up until a couple of years ago is that life is happening to me, not for me. And I've been able, going back to mindset, to reshift that truth, which wasn't the truth. And, now I look at all of the things that are happening in my life, the good and the hard. There are no bad things. I don't believe that bad things happen. I believe that hard things happen. And a lot of those are out of our control. Are you able to look at that experience and all the inflection points perhaps and challenges you've had as like, these are all happening for you to become I don't want to say a new and improved, but a different, a more real, a more Bill Goodwin in his life?
Well, I think I've come to accept that. That's a mindset shift that, took place a while ago, but it's an ongoing accepting of that. And we can't control everything in our life. Matter of fact, no one, hear me in this, no one likes to be around a control freak that's trying to control everything. That's not a pleasant kind of life. Matter of fact, the control freak is not living an enjoyable life either. They're living a miserable life trying to control everything. So I would say that you can't control everything, nor should you want to. So allow this ebb and flow of life. And as I talk about in my book, a rhythm. There's a rhythm to our life. And there's a rhythm to our work where we should be working from our rest, not resting from our work. And there's a significant shift that I share in that chapter about that. But there is, life's going to happen, going to throw things at you, and it's how you navigate those things. When I was, I don't know why this came to my mind, but when I was in high school, I was in the drum line in the marching band. And our band director used to always say, I don't care in a competition if you mess up, if you go the wrong way or whatever. He goes, I don't care if you mess up. That could happen. It's what you do. It's how you recover from that matters. And that's how it is in life. It's like things are going to come your way. You can't control those things. But friend, it's what you do with those things. It's the mindset. It's your reaction, that you don't overreact, that you respond appropriately, that you grow from those things. That's what's important, not so much the things that come our way.
Beautifully said. We respond to life's curveballs, which could be big, they could be little. It's all about awareness, shifting our mindsets, understanding what is true about our life, getting mentors, having people in our corner, and embracing the uncomfortable and living an intentional, purposeful life, and one that matters. That's my little synopsis of our conversation today. Let's land this plane here. Fantastic interview, Bill. I'm so appreciative of you, of your friendship, and you being a guy in my corner. I said this before we hit record. When I'm afraid, I think of wonderful people that I have in my corner, and you're one of those guys. So I want to just thank you for that.
Honored for that.
On this spot. Yeah, appreciate you, my man. Where can people find more about you, your book, and everything that you're doing online?
Well, I want to give our listener a free chapter of my book, so they can go to my website. There's two ways to get there. It's PriorityLivingBook.com. That'll take you to my business page. There is a form you just fill out there. You'll get a free PDF chapter of the book. And you can find me on my business page, which is PriorityLivingCG.com. That stands for PriorityLivingConsultingGroup.com. And that's a great way to find me. I'm on social media, so under my name on LinkedIn and Facebook, you can find me at Bill Goodwin, and then on Instagram at Coach Bill Speaks. And love to connect with you. Love to see how I can be an encouragement to you, add value to you. And the book is on Amazon. You can get it also through the website link there as well. Appreciate you having me on, my friend. I always enjoy time I get to spend with you.
Likewise. Bill's a great follow, a great friend. He's a great guy online to have in your ear, even though you may not be talking with him daily. Go get his book, go check him out, go to his website, and make sure you connect with Bill at your earliest convenience. I highly recommend that. Bill, thank you so much, my man. I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you. Have a great day.
If this conversation sparked something in you, don't let it fade. Please rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform. Don't forget to connect with me online as well. Follow me at Jared Sebesta on Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, or dive deeper at my website, jaredsebesta.com, where all my free trainings and resources are waiting for you. And remember, stop chasing the life you want and start becoming. This is the Breakthrough Effect. We'll see you next time.